Hi everyone. Today I thought I would talk through my DVD collection, and to be honest, a few of these I stole from my parents' house, but the rest are really my favorites and things I've made a point of getting. I'm not sure for how much longer DVDs are really going to be usable or relevant, so it's kind of annoying that a lot of us have bought so many. But it is nice to have them and be able to play them whenever I want on my DVD player and not have to worry about are they going on or off Netflix or things like that. So to get started, here is one you probably recognize. It is Up by Disney Pixar. This one, I haven't seen it that many times. I'm not exactly sure why I have it. I guess my mom bought it, and it's probably one I stole. If you are not familiar with it, I'll read some of the description. Carl Fredricksen, a retired balloon salesman, is part rascal, part dreamer who's ready for his last chance at high-flying excitement. Tying thousands of balloons to his house, Carl sets off to the lost world of his childhood dreams. Unbeknownst to Carl, Russell, an overeager 8-year-old wilderness explorer who has never ventured beyond his backyard, is at the wrong place at the wrong time, Carl's front porch. The world's most unlikely duo reach new heights and meet fantastic friends like Doug, a dog with a special collar that allows him to speak, and Kevin, a rare 13-foot-tall flightless bird. Stuck together in the wilds of the jungle, Carl realizes that sometimes life's biggest adventures aren't the ones you set out looking for. So, I guess this is one of my favorite that Pixar has done, especially recently. Russell the kid is super cute. Carl's like this grumpy old man, and then you have tropical adventures, and there's a bad guy. Maybe I should watch this one again, because I haven't watched it in probably a few years. Okay, this one, this is obvious. Also, I just noticed down here it says Best Animated Movie of the Year, and I'm pretty sure on Up it said #1 Animated Movie of the Year. Obviously, they're from different years, but do they just put that on every Disney release, or are they really always #1? Frozen, I did really like. Let It Go, all of that jazz. I just saw Frozen 2, and I thought it was really good, especially for a sequel. Maybe better than this one. Elsa still had good songs that'll get stuck in your head. The animation's beautiful. The story is cool. I don't know if anyone hasn't heard of this or doesn't know what it's about. Basically, it's about two sisters. One of them has magical ice powers, and she struggles with them, and they're adventuring around in the snow. And there's a talking snowman. Okay, this is a classic, kind of scary when you realize how old it is now. So this is Mean Girls, obviously, when Lindsay Lohan was still doing things. Most of you also probably know what this one's about. And they just made a musical about it recently, which I heard was actually really good. So that is on my list if it ever comes around into town to see the Mean Girls musical. I think Tina Fey had input in writing it. Okay, so I'm really big into musical theater. Phantom of the Opera is maybe one of the more basic ones, but I think it's also one of the most classic ones. So I will sometimes call this my favorite musical. It's hard to choose. But I saw this movie for the first time when it first came out, which I don't even know, was it like 2004 maybe? Yeah, 2004. So I was really not like a toddler, but I was pretty young. I loved it. I've watched this a bunch of times, It's about a young orphan who is in the Paris Opera House. She's just like a chorus member, and the Phantom of the Opera, I guess, kind of like is obsessed with her and catapults her to be the star of the opera, but then everyone else is scared of him and he causes a bunch of trouble, so they hunt him down. And the musical itself live is super impressive. This, obviously, you can do more in a movie than you can in a live musical, and I would recommend watching this, even though it's, God, almost 16 years old, if I'm doing the math right. Wow. It's a good movie. Okay, this is another old classic. Again, Lindsay Lohan, even further back in the past. Hopefully she was more normal back then, but this is The Parent Trap. Classic kids movie, really good. Awesome soundtrack. If you have Amazon Music and Alexa, if you tell her to play music from The Parent Trap, there's a playlist with the soundtrack, and it's an excellent soundtrack. And obviously the handshake is classic, and I actually learned it once with my friend. So this is about two twins that are separated at birth and don't know the other exists, and they meet at a summer camp. Their parents are divorced, and they try and get their parents back together. If you've never seen this, you need to see it. Okay. Right, this one I feel is a Disney classic, not widely talked about. This is Sky High. So, this dude from the New York Times called it a clever hybrid of Harry Potter and The Incredibles, if that convinces anyone. So basically, this is about a group of kids. They have superpowers, and so they go to this like high school for kids with superpowers. But there is an antagonist who is trying to, I guess, control everyone with superpowers because they're mad about how they were made into a villain or a sidekick or something along those lines. It's really good. It has a lot of good quotable lines and just funny parts. I mean, it's a dumb Disney movie, but I've watched it probably more than most people have. Okay, you might recognize this from a famous book series. This is Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the first movie based on basically the first Diary of a Wimpy Kid book. My brother really loved reading those books growing up. There's like 15 at least now. This movie we've watched a lot. It's really funny, really true to the book, and we can quote like most of the movie. Basically, it's just about this kid, Greg, and he's going to middle school with his friend Rowley. They're not really the cool kids, and it's just like funny as they go through joining middle school and dealing with all the other crazy kids and things that happen. So I would recommend this also if you want a not very serious movie that's funny. Okay, the next one I have is We Bought a Zoo, also known as Matt Damon and Scarlett Johansson's best movie they've ever made, in my opinion. So I will read the description. Apparently this is based on a true story. I didn't even know that. So, when his teenage son gets into trouble, Benjamin Mee gives up a lucrative newspaper job to move his family to the most unlikely of places, a zoo. With help from an eclectic staff and with many misadventures along the way, Benjamin embarks on a fresh beginning to restore the dilapidated zoo to its former glory, while uniting his family. So yeah, it's literally what it sounds. They buy a zoo, they try and make the zoo good again, and there's antics along the way. I like zoos and wildlife, so, but it's also like a cute, heartwarming story, so just a good one to watch, not too serious or difficult to understand. This one, you guys may be more familiar with the book series. This is based on the Mortal Instruments series, City of Bones. This is the first book in what is now like a 6-book saga with 5 spin-off series by Cassandra Clare. This is the first time they tried to adapt it into a movie with, I think, Jamie Campbell Bower and Lily Collins. It wasn't very good. There were some things that were good about it, some things that were bad. No one can seem to adapt this series well. More recently, I think it was the Freeform channel, did a TV show based on this series, basically ignoring that this had ever happened, and that was called Shadowhunters. I think it's been canceled already. I mean, if you put me in charge of making an adaptation, it would be good, but no one else seems to have a clue what's going on with this. It's basically about a girl who sorry for the shaky camera. So it's basically about a girl who is part of this magical world, but she doesn't know it, and so she meets these other people who kind of bring her into it, and they're a race of demon hunting, like half angel warriors, as the description says. Her mom disappears, and so she tries to find her while navigating her way through this new world. It's a good book series. I would recommend the books. Okay, we have a trilogy. So I have Pitch Perfect 1, Pitch Perfect 2, and Pitch Perfect 3. So if you haven't heard of these, they star Anna Kendrick here, there. Also Rebel Wilson. Haley Steinfeld came in for the last 2, I think. Some people hate these. I think they're really funny. It's about a college a cappella group competing and getting into trouble. This third one kind of went off the rails. It became half of like a weird, kind of like a spy drama thing. So I would stick to these 2, and then if you really want more, check this one out. The covers they do of songs are really good. They're all good singers. I think it's funny, and I love music, and I always wanted to be in an a cappella group in college, but I never had time because I did marching band. But these are really good. They might be making a 4th one even. I don't know. Okay, another classic trilogy. High School Musical. 1, 2, and 3. I feel like my family originally bought these for my younger sister. I kind of went through the typical path of like, High School Musical's stupid. I'd never want to watch it. Then like I liked it, but I wouldn't admit it. Now I just like unironically enjoy it. The songs are bomb. The characters are funny. There's like really hilarious memes that come out of it. Yeah, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's basically a bunch of high schoolers that are involved in musicals, and the movies are musicals, so they sing about their lives. There's some romance and drama. And I think Disney Plus is doing a like spin-off-y / revival thing of it, which is a big reason I want to get Disney Plus. I have no real explanation for owning all these, but we have Shrek. We have Shrek 2. We have Shrek the Third, and we have Shrek Forever After, the final chapter, which I'm not actually convinced is the final chapter because there's been so many TV specials and spin-offs, and now there might be a 5th or 6th movie coming, but yeah, I think I stole these from my home. They're actually pretty good movies. Also talking about bomb soundtracks. The first movie soundtrack is outstanding, and same with the second. They're funny. There's quotable lines. There's memes. There's a donkey that has kids with a dragon. I mean, I don't know. I think I had a friend visit me my senior year of college, and we just decided to watch all of these. And it was like really funny, so then I stole them all from my parents. Okay, this is, so I don't really watch a lot of movies, as you might tell by what I have. I'm not like a classic movies fan, and I like don't really care about movies in general. But this is often what I'll give as a standard answer for my favorite movie. I really just like animated movies, Disney musicals, or comedies. So this is a Will Ferrell comedy. Also a John Heder, who was Napoleon Dynamite. Yeah, I saw this for the first time when I was like in 6th grade, I think, which maybe was a little too young, but I've watched it so many times. I can basically quote the entire movie start to finish. So I will read the description. It also has Amy Poehler and Will Arnett and that girl from The Office, Jenna Fisher. So, bitter figure skating rivals Chad Michaels, who's Will Ferrell, and Jimmy McElroy, who's John Heder, brawl after tying for the gold medal at the World Championships. Banned for life from men's competition, these arch rivals beat the system thanks to a loophole that allows them to skate again in pairs competition. So they're banned for life from men's singles. They realize they could skate in pairs, and they don't have enough time to find a traditional female partner, I guess, before the next round of competition. So they become a pair themselves, even though they're enemies. And it's just really funny, I think. Maybe you'll think it's stupid, but yeah, I would recommend this. I don't know that I've watched even that many other Will Ferrell comedies, but this one's my favorite of the 1 or 2 I've seen. Okay, obviously, Moana. So, I think Moana is one of my favorite Disney movies ever. I watched it in theaters when it came out, and I could not stop crying the entire movie. It's not a sad movie. It's an inspirational, beautifully animated movie. I think it's something about Moana, and she's like doing everything herself and gets herself so far and accomplishes all this stuff, and just something about like a young girl kicking ass. And I was just like, so hard to watch this movie without crying even now. This came out after Frozen. I think it was like 2017 maybe. So she lives on an island, and her dad is the chief of their tribe. She needs to go out into the world sailing to save her people on the islands, which no one ever goes off the island and sails that far. And so she meets a demigod Maui, who's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and they go to save the islands, and it's beautifully done. Just really inspirational. I really like it. Okay, then this is the 2-movie collection for Mamma Mia and Mamma Mia Here We Go Again, which came out maybe last year. So obviously it's based on the musical starring Amanda Seyfried, and Meryl Streep, and a bunch of other famous people. I thought they were both really good. I almost like the second one better than the first. It's about a girl who lives on a Greek island with her mom. She doesn't know who her dad is, and it turns out it could have been one of 3 guys. So she invites all the guys back to the island, and her mom hasn't seen any of them in a super long time, and she never actually ends up finding out who her dad is, but they sing and dance and build this hotel. And then in the second one, it's kind of like the flashback story of her mom when she was younger and meeting all of the 3 guys. So good songs, cool scenery because it's like Greek islands, cute stories. Right, the last movies I have are obviously Harry Potter, complete 8-film collection. I don't watch these too often because they're kind of like serious and long, and I don't have that much of an attention span, but I've obviously seen them plenty of times over the years. And as for which one's my favorite, I'm really bad at picking favorites of anything, any category. So I mean, there's good and bad things about all of them. I don't love how they did the Deathly Hallows either movie. I guess Goblet of Fire was cool for the Triwizard Tournament. I don't know, the first one's just classic, but it looks so old now when you watch it, just in terms of like the visual aspects. Okay, now I have 3 complete DVD sets of TV shows, which I thought I'd just throw in. This one is super random, and I did not buy it for myself. It is the Little House on the Prairie complete DVD collection. This is a television show from, I don't even know, like the 70s. I read the book series when I was younger, and I loved them. I like read all of them. I cried when bad things happened to the characters. I cried when I finished because I felt like Laura was my friend. Somehow my mom got the idea that I wanted this for like my 21st birthday or something. I've only watched a few episodes. Oh, I guess it's not the complete. It's season 1 and the pilot movie. So I have not watched many, but it is kind of like a cute, happy-go-lucky show, except when like weirdly tragic things happen. But it's about this family that leaves their house. I think they're originally maybe from Wisconsin, and they're traveling out west in the pioneer times. And just things like building their log cabins and meeting their neighbors and fighting off wolves and like having potatoes and corn husk dolls as Christmas presents. And I don't know. It's a cute show. I always really liked Laura because she's kind of like tomboyish and adventurous and doesn't want to listen to rules or do typical like feminine things. And as a kid, I was really like that. And I don't know. I thought she was really inspirational. And it is a cute, just like easy show to watch. Oh, this is from 74, 75. Yeah, so it was right. They still show reruns of it on some TV channels. Okay, this one in a cool shiny box is Psych, the complete series. Let's see if... Yeah, I'll redo the description because it's probably better than I can give. But this is one of my favorite shows. It's no longer on the air, although they are making kind of standalone movies with the same cast. They've done one, and I think a second one's coming out. So, when lifelong best friends Sean Spencer and Burden Gus Guster stumbled into crime solving, they had no idea that their detective agency Psych would cause such a scene. With Sean's fake psychic sleuthing and sidekick Gus's nose for clues, the unlikely duo tackled countless murders and mysteries, from the weirdly wacky to the daringly dangerous. You know this, right? So it's a really funny, like, mystery cop show, kind of. So basically, Sean's dad was a detective, and he taught Sean all these tips and tricks for solving mysteries and being really... paying attention to details and things that other people won't notice. And so they end up helping the police department in Santa Barbara, California, solve mysteries. And the only way they can convince them to let them help is by pretending that Sean is actually psychic, and that's how he solves all these. So it's just super funny. There's lots of catchphrases, really good episodes. They even did a musical episode. And so they solve like murders and other crimes with lots of jokes along the way. 1 hour-ish episodes. I think this maybe ended in 2014 or 2015 or something, but it's a really good show if you like mysteries or cop dramas or funny ensemble cast kind of shows. The last thing I have is one of my other favorite shows of all time. It's almost along the same vein as the other one. So this is Chuck, complete series. Let's see if it has a description. Okay, a minuscule description. So basically what happens in this show is Chuck, who's Zachary Levi, he is just a humble worker at the Buy More, which is kind of like a ripoff of Best Buy in their nerd herd, which is kind of like the Geek Squad. So he repairs computers at this store. He's super smart, and he got kicked out of, it's either Stanford or Harvard, when his roommate accused him of cheating. And ever since then, he's just been working at this store. It turns out his roommate, I can't remember exactly, his roommate was like in the CIA, and he ends up dying and sending this like SOS message to Chuck. And what happens when Chuck accesses it is it uploads this thing called the Intercept into Chuck's brain, which gives him like all the government secrets they have, and knowledge of how to do taekwondo and karate, and knowledge of how to shoot and how to speak different languages. So he becomes this super valuable asset. So Sarah, who is from, I think, the CIA, and then Casey, who I think is from the NSA, they come to be his handlers, and basically it's just about them solving not necessarily crimes, but like fighting off terrorists and other bad guys and busting up crime rings. And this is Chuck's friend from the Buy More, and there's a really good cast of characters. These are all Buy More employees. This is Chuck's sister and her boyfriend, husband, Captain Awesome. It's mostly a super hilarious show. There's some like romance and emotional parts, and there's a lot of like spy action, if that's what you like, and explosions and guns and diffusing bombs, but it's hilarious. And it'll kind of flash back between like what they're doing on their missions and then like wacky stuff that's going on at the Buy More with all the employees. It's just so good. I think this ended, it says it ran from 2008 to 2012, 5 seasons. This is one that I want to watch from the beginning to the end all over again. It's just so good. And it kind of got Zachary Levi his start. At least I didn't see him in anything until after this. So yeah, I would check this out again if you like spy stuff and comedy. So that is everything I have. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this look at the movies and TV shows I have. Let me know if you've watched any of these and liked them, and what your favorite movie or TV show is. There's a lot of, I'm more of a TV person than a movie person, so I've watched a lot of TV shows, and I would love to have some of them on DVD, but I haven't been able to find complete sets, like Ugly Betty, for example, or Desperate Housewives. I was really into when I was like in middle school, which is probably too young. But yeah, have a good night or day, and I will see you guys in another video.